You've been told your whole life that retirement is a number. Save this much by this age and you'll be free. But the truth is, retirement isn't one destination. It's 6 different lives, and depending on which tier you end up in, the word retirement means something completely different. Today, we're going to walk through every wealth tier in retirement, from subsistence to legacy, and you'll find out exactly where you are, and more importantly, what it takes to move up. A winding road splitting into 6 different paths, each leading to a different skyline. A person standing at the bottom of a ladder looking up at 6 glowing platforms. A retirement calculator showing the number 1 million with a question mark above it. 6 different doors numbered 1 through 6, each slightly larger than the last. A silhouette standing at a crossroads looking at 6 signs pointing in different directions. A simple illustration of a person's life journey marked by 6 milestones. Let's start at Tier 1. What I call subsistence. This is where you are surviving, not living. Your only income is Social Security or a small pension. Every month is a math problem. You check your bank account before buying groceries. A car repair is a crisis. You've stopped thinking about what if because you can barely handle what is. At this level, retirement isn't freedom. It's just another version of working, except now you're working to make ends meet without a paycheck. A person sitting at a small table counting coins from a piggy bank, a Social Security check that barely covers the essentials, a calculator with numbers that simply don't add up, an envelope labeled unexpected expense that terrifies the person holding it, a refrigerator that's mostly empty with a single shopping list stuck to it, a calendar where every month is marked survival mode, a car with a check engine light that the driver ignores because repairs are too expensive, a person choosing between medication and groceries represented by 2 items on a scale. The defining feature of Tier 1 is that there is zero margin. 1 bad month and you are in trouble. You are not making bad decisions, you simply never had enough to build a buffer. This is where 40% of American retirees live. And the cruel irony is, these are the people who worked the hardest, often in physical jobs that left their bodies broken by 65. But here is what nobody tells you, Tier 1 isn't about how much you earned. It's about a system that was never designed to catch you, and the cost of getting this wrong means your final decades become a survival game. A diagram showing income versus expenses. The line goes up slightly, then expenses eat everything. A person staring at a single bill they can't pay. The paper glowing with stress. A simple chart: 40% of retirees live at subsistence level. A pair of worn working hands representing a lifetime of physical labor. The same hands now holding an empty wallet. A coin falling through a cracked hole in a safety net. A person at 65 looking back at their younger self who was told, "Just work hard." Tier 2 is what I call barely comfortable. You are not in crisis mode, but you are also not at peace. You have a small nest egg, maybe $50,000 to $100,000, and you watch it like a hawk. You can cover your regular bills, you might even go out to dinner once a month. But a vacation, a new roof, helping a grandchild with college, those are dreams, not plans. At Tier 2, you've done everything right by the old rules. You paid off your mortgage, you didn't carry credit card debt, but the math of modern retirement was written for a different era. A small pile of savings, visible but not life-changing. A person looking at a restaurant menu and calculating before ordering. A roof with a few missing tiles, expensive repairs looming. A piggy bank labeled college fund, that's barely a quarter full. A calendar with 1 dinner date circled, the only luxury this month. A scale labeled inflation, weighing down one side with a small retirement fund on the other. A person reading the old retirement rulebook: pay off mortgage, save 10%, retire at 65. But the rulebook is out of date. A thermostat set to 62 degrees in winter because heating costs too much. The pain of Tier 2 is subtle. You can't complain because you are not suffering, but you are not living either. You are in a waiting room, healthy enough to be uncomfortable but not sick enough for anyone to help. This is where most middle-class retirees end up, hard-working people who did what they were told and ended up with just enough to be reminded daily of what they don't have. And the hardest truth about Tier 2, the retirement industry isn't designed to help you. It's designed to sell you products for Tier 4. If you are stuck in Tier 2, the financial system basically ignores you. A person sitting in a waiting room, comfortable but not moving. A sign that reads, "Not poor enough for help, not rich enough to relax." A person doing what they were told, following a path that led to a dead end. A financial advisor's office with a wealth management sign turning away small accounts. A simple chart, the middle-class retirement gap, what you have versus what you need. A person watching others enjoy retirement through a window. A clock showing that time is passing, but the savings aren't growing. Two paths, the one labeled what you were told to do versus what actually works. Now let's talk about Tier 3, modest comfort. This is the first level where retirement starts to feel okay. You have around $250,000 to $500,000 saved. Your debts are paid. You can take a real vacation every year. At Tier 3, you've stopped worrying about day-to-day survival. Your brain finally has room for things beyond money. You read books, you take up hobbies, you actually enjoy your free time. But here is a catch at Tier 3, you are comfortable, but you are not secure. A major health crisis or a market downturn could drop you back to Tier 2 or even Tier 1 with a single event. A person on a beach vacation, modest but real. A stack of paid-off bills with a green check mark on each, a small but comfortable living room with books and a hobby desk, a person gardening, reading, or painting, enjoying true free time. A shield with a crack in it, representing fragile security. A hospital bill hovering like a dark cloud over a peaceful scene, a stock market line going down with an arrow pointing to a person. A simple illustration. A comfortable chair on a stable platform, but the platform has cracks. Here is what I want you to notice about Tier 3. This is the level most financial planners aim for. If you have $500K in savings and a paid-off house, the industry considers you retirement ready. But the people living at Tier 3 know the truth. They understand that their comfort depends on things going right. The market can't crash, their health can't fail, their kids can't need help. Tier 3 is the illusion of security. You've done enough to relax, but not enough to be safe. And that tension, the gap between feeling okay and actually being okay, defines this entire level. A financial planner handing a retirement-ready certificate to a smiling person. The same person at home at night, unable to sleep, staring at the ceiling. A house of cards labeled retirement plan with a slight wobble. A person walking on solid ground, not knowing there's a trapdoor ahead. A beautiful calm lake with hidden rocks just below the surface. A person saying, "I'm fine," with a worried expression behind the words. A tightrope walker who's made it halfway across, comfortable but far from safe. A simple visual, the gap between comfortable and secure is wider than people think. Tier 4 is what I call financial freedom. This is where your investments generate enough income to cover all your basic expenses. You don't need a paycheck. You don't need Social Security to survive. Work becomes optional. At Tier 4, you have roughly $750,000 to $1.5 million. Your portfolio produces $30,000 to $60,000 a year in passive income. You can travel, you can help your family, you can say no to anything that doesn't bring you joy. This is the level that changes the meaning of retirement, not because of the money, but because of the psychological shift. At Tier 4, you stop counting, you stop checking, you start living. A person looking at a portfolio statement with a real smile, not a worried one. Passive income represented as money flowing from multiple small streams into one river. A world map with pins showing travel destinations visited in retirement. A person helping a family member, paying for a grandchild's education. A person saying no to something they don't want to do with calm confidence. A broken calculator because they no longer need to count every dollar. A person who stopped checking their bank account every morning. A door labeled obligation that's closed and locked from the inside. I want to be very clear about what Tier 4 is not. It's not being rich. You can't buy a vacation home. You can't fly first class. But you can wake up every morning and ask yourself one question: what do I want to do today? That question is more valuable than any amount of money, because at Tier 3, you are asking, can I afford this? At Tier 4, you are asking, do I want to? The difference between Tier 3 and Tier 4 is about $500,000, but the difference in quality of life. It's the difference between surviving your retirement and actually enjoying it. A person waking up and stretching, no alarm clock, no schedule. A simple question: what do I want to do today, with a sunrise behind it? Two people, one looking at a price tag with worry, the other with curiosity. A line graph showing the leap from 500K to 1M, not that far. A person having coffee at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday just because they can. The same person from Tier 3 now sleeping peacefully through the night. A scale on one side surviving, on the other enjoying is heavy. A simple illustration. The gap between okay and free is the most important gap of your life. Tier 5 is wealth. This is where you have $3 to $10 million. Your money works harder than you ever did. You have multiple income streams, real estate, dividends, business interests. You are not just secure, you are abundant. At Tier 5, retirement stops being about money management and starts being about identity. Who are you when you don't have to think about cost? What do you do when every door is open to you? This is the tier where you can create generational wealth. Your children won't have to start from zero. Your grandchildren will have opportunities you never had. But Tier 5 also comes with its own kind of loneliness. A tree with deep roots and many branches, generational wealth taking hold. Multiple income streams shown as rivers feeding a large lake. A person standing at a crossroads with every path open, no closed doors. A simple house growing into a larger house, then into an estate. A person looking at their adult children with relief, knowing they won't struggle. A chessboard where the person is playing the long game, not just the next move. A person in a large, beautiful house, but sitting alone at a long dining table. A crown that feels heavy, representing the burden of managing wealth. I need to tell you something about Tier 5 that no one talks about. Having money changes your relationships in ways you can't prepare for. Your old friends treat you differently. Family members look at you differently. You start questioning every interaction. The wealthy retirees I've interviewed say the same thing. Money solves money problems, but it creates people problems. The loneliness at Tier 5 is real. You can buy anything except genuine connection. But here is the good news. If you reach Tier 5 with your values intact, you can do extraordinary things. You can fund causes you believe in. You can mentor the next generation. You can use your resources to make the world slightly better than you found it. A person at a party where everyone is smiling at them, but are the smiles real? A family dinner where the dynamic has shifted. Money is an invisible guest. A person buying anything they want, but the store is empty of people. A pile of money with a question mark over it. What's it all for? A person funding a community project, a library, a park, a scholarship. The same person mentoring a young entrepreneur, passing on wisdom, not just money. A garden where the richest harvest is the act of sharing. A person looking at themselves in the mirror. Do they like who they've become? Finally, Tier 6. True legacy. This is the rarest level, not because of the money, but because of the mindset. At Tier 6, you are not just wealthy, you are purposeful. Your wealth has a mission. Tier 6 isn't about a number. Some people reach it with 5 million, others need 50 million. The defining feature isn't the amount, it's the clarity of purpose. You know exactly what your money is for, and it's not you. This is the tier where retirement becomes your most productive chapter. The best work of your life happens after 65. You are not slowing down. You are redirecting all your energy from accumulation to impact. A person standing at the top of a mountain not to rest, but to see further. A light shining from one person to many, representing impact, radiating outward. A library named after someone, physical proof of a life well lived. A person not counting money but counting lives changed. A simple tree that grew from a single seed into a forest, generational legacy. A sunset that isn't an ending, but the start of a new chapter. A person writing, not a will, but a vision for what their wealth will do. A circle. The money came from the world and now returns to the world. The difference between Tier 5 and Tier 6 is subtle but profound. At Tier 5, you have everything you want. At Tier 6, you realize that having everything you want means nothing if you don't use it for something bigger than yourself. The people at Tier 6 don't talk about retirement, they talk about their next project, their next investment in a cause, their next attempt to solve a problem that matters. They've redefined retirement as the chapter where you give everything back. And here is the beautiful irony. The people who reach Tier 6 aren't the ones who spent their lives chasing money. They're the ones who spent their lives chasing meaning, and the money followed. A person who looks younger in retirement than they did at 50, purpose is the best medicine. Two paths, one labeled more and one labeled enough. They chose enough long ago. A compass that stopped pointing to wealth and started pointing to meaning. A person whose face shows peace, not because they have everything, but because they're giving everything. A simple truth, the best retirement isn't about what you take, but what you leave behind. A person whose legacy outlives them, a tree they planted, a life they changed, a cause they started. A final image, the 6 tiers as one staircase with the top step glowing and a person stepping into the light. So where are you in the 6 tiers? Most people are afraid to ask that question because they're afraid of the answer. But here's what I've learned from working with retirees across every level. The people who are happiest in retirement aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who know exactly where they are and have a realistic plan for where they're going. Your tier isn't your destiny, it's your starting point. Every single person I've seen move up even one tier did 3 things. They got honest about their numbers, they changed their strategy, and they gave themselves time. If you want to know which tier you're in and what it takes to move up, start with this question: what does retirement actually mean to you? Because until you answer that, no amount of money will ever be enough. A person looking in a mirror and honestly assessing where they stand. A simple 3-step path: honesty, strategy, time. A person studying a map, not running from where they are, but planning from there. A chart showing that people who know their number are more likely to reach it. A person who stopped comparing themselves to others and started comparing to their own goals. A sunrise over the 6 tiers, representing a new beginning at any level. A final question floating above everything: what does retirement mean to you?